The great meeting hall of the Galaxy Council was buzzing with noise. Aliens from 50 different worlds sat in their special chairs, talking and laughing. The hall was huge, with walls made of crystal that showed the stars outside. Each alien looked different. Some had blue skin, others had tentacles, and a few looked like giant insects. Ambassador Hoon walked into the hall. He was a human, which meant he looked small compared to most of the other aliens. His black hair was neat, and he wore a simple blue uniform. The other aliens barely looked at him as he walked to his seat. "Another boring meeting," said Counselor. Vexstar, a tall alien with purple skin and 4 arms. He was from the Altarian Empire, the most powerful group in the galaxy. "I hope the humans don't waste our time again." Other aliens laughed. They often made jokes about humans. To them, humans were just a young species that was good for simple work like mining and farming. Nothing more. Hoon reached his seat and stood up. "I need to speak," he said in a clear voice. The room got quiet, but not because they respected him. They were just curious about what the human wanted to say. "The human government has made a decision," Hoon began. "We are leaving the Galaxy Council. All human ships will leave Council space. All human workers will go home. We will not come back." For a moment the hall was completely silent, then the aliens started laughing. "Leaving?" Vexstar laughed so hard his 4 arms shook. "Where will you go? You humans can barely fly to the next star system." "This is a joke, right?" asked Grokmal, a big alien that looked like a rock with eyes. "Humans need us. You cannot survive alone." Hoon did not smile. "We have decided to explore beyond Council space. We want to focus on our own growth and development. This decision is final." More laughter filled the hall. Some aliens were hitting their desks because they thought it was so funny. "Good," shouted Zultara, an alien with tentacles for hair. "We can finally give human colonies to species that deserve them. Human mining stations will work better under proper management," added Nexver, who controlled the biggest trade companies in the galaxy. Hoon looked around the room. These aliens had worked with humans for 50 years, but they never really paid attention to what humans did. They just saw humans as workers who followed orders. "You are making a mistake," Hoon said quietly. "You do not understand what we really do here." "Dig holes and carry boxes?" Vexstar laughed. "I think we can handle that." Outside the station, Admiral Yuno was waiting with the human fleet. She stood on the bridge of her ship, watching the council station through the big window. Her short hair was gray, and her face was serious. "Admiral," said her second officer, "Ambassador Hoon is finished. He is coming back to the ship." "Good," Yuna said. "Signal all ships. We leave as soon as Hoon is aboard." Down in the station's science labs, Researcher Day was packing his equipment. He had worked there for 10 years, studying different alien species. Other alien scientists watched him pack, but they did not help. "Why are you really leaving?" asked Dr. Meltis, an alien scientist with big eyes. "Is it because we do not pay humans enough?" Day stopped packing and looked at her. "You think this is about money? What else could it be?" "Humans always want more resources." Day shook his head. "You never understood us. You never even tried." He picked up a small device from his desk. It was beeping softly. "Do you know what this is?" Dr. Meltis looked at it. "Some kind of scanner?" "It watches for dangerous space storms that could destroy this station. I check it every day. I've been doing this for 10 years. Day put the device in his bag. "Who will check it when I am gone?" "We will figure it out," she said, but she did not sound sure. Day finished packing. "Good luck. You will need it." Back in the meeting hall, the aliens were already talking about how to split up human territories. They had maps showing all the human colonies and trade routes. "The Zenith system has good mining planets," said Vexstar, pointing at the map. "My empire will take those." "The humans were running supply lines through the Omega sector," said Nexver. "Those routes are very profitable. I want them." They talked like humans had never existed. Like 50 years of working together meant nothing. Hoon walked back into the hall one last time. He had a small bag with his personal things. "I am leaving now," he announced. Wait, said Counselor Yethmara, an old alien with wise eyes. She was one of the few who sometimes listened to humans. Are you sure about this? Maybe we can discuss this problem. Hoon stopped walking. There's no problem to discuss. You made your choice long ago. You see us as servants, not as partners. We are tired of being ignored. But humans are part of the council, Yethmara said. You have rights here. Rights? Hoon laughed, but it was not a happy sound. When did you last listen to a human idea? When did you last ask for our advice? You give us orders and expect us to follow them. That is not partnership, Vexstar waved his hand. Humans are too young to give advice. You need to learn more before you can help make big decisions. Too young? Hoon's voice got louder. We have been in space for over 200 years. We have explored more systems than any other species here. But you still treat us like children. Because you act like children, Vexstar replied. Running away when things get difficult. Hoon stared at him. You will understand soon enough. He turned and walked toward the exit. The aliens watched him go, still talking among themselves about how to divide human territories. This is better for everyone, Vexstar said to the others. Humans were holding us back anyway. Agreed, said Grokmal. Now we can make real progress. As Hoon reached the exit, he stopped and turned around one. Last time, I want you to remember this day, he said loudly. Remember that we tried to warn you. Remember that we offered to help. When things start to go wrong, remember that you chose to let us go. Nothing will go wrong, Vexstar laughed. The galaxy was fine before humans, and it will be fine after. Humans, Hoon walked out of the hall. The big doors closed behind him with a loud bang. An hour later, the human fleet was ready to leave. Admiral Yuna gave the order, and hundreds of human ships started moving away from Council space. Some aliens watched from the station windows, but most were too busy planning how to take over human territories. All ships are clear of Council space, reported the communications officer. Good, Admiral Yuna said. Set course for the deep reach. It is time to begin the real work. The human fleet disappeared into hyperspace, leaving the Galaxy Council behind. In the meeting hall, the aliens continued their discussions late into the night. They were excited about all the new territories and resources they would control. They made plans and signed agreements. They felt like they had won something valuable. None of them noticed that several warning lights on the station were starting to blink red. None of them saw that the automatic systems were beginning to show small errors. None of them realized that the humans had been quietly taking care of thousands of small but important tasks. Every single day, the Galaxy Council celebrated their freedom from the troublesome humans. They had no idea that their troubles were just beginning. 3 months had passed since the humans left. The Galaxy Council thought everything was going well. They had divided up all the human territories and were making good profits from the old human trade routes, but General Casmor was worried. The general was a Xanthari, which meant he looked like a giant ant with armor. His people were warriors who protected many worlds in the galaxy. They were very good at fighting and had never lost a war, but now something was wrong with their defenses. Show me the report again, General Casmor said to his assistant. The assistant, another Xanthari warrior, held up a glowing screen. Sir, our defense networks are failing all over the Outer Rim. Systems that worked perfectly for 30 years are now showing critical errors. General Casmor looked at the screen. Red warning lights covered the map of their territory. How is this possible? These systems were built by the best Xanthari engineers. That is what we thought, sir, but we found something strange. There are thousands of small changes in the code. Tiny adjustments that someone made over many years. Without these changes, the systems do not work properly. Who made these changes? The assistant was quiet for a moment. We think it was humans, sir. The work records show human technicians working on these systems regularly, but we thought they were just doing basic maintenance. General Casmor felt a cold feeling in his stomach. Get me a full report on all human involvement in our defense systems. I want it in 1 hour. On the other side of the galaxy, economist Plexen was having his own problems. Plexin was a trader, a species that looked like purple octopuses. They controlled most of the galaxy's business and trade. The numbers do not make sense, Plexin said to his team. He was looking at trade reports from across the galaxy. Our efficiency is down 23%. Supply chains are breaking everywhere. His assistant, a young trader named Zibulin, tentatively raised one of her tentacles. Sir, maybe it has something to do with the humans leaving. Humans? Plexin laughed. Humans just carry boxes and loaded ships. Any species can do that work. But sir, look at these reports. The problem started exactly when humans left. Every supply route they managed is now having issues. Plexin looked more carefully at the data. The assistant was right. Every trade route that had human managers was now running slowly and inefficiently. Ships were getting lost. Cargo was being delivered to the wrong places. Some shipments were disappearing completely. This cannot be right, Plexin muttered. Humans are not smart enough to manage complex logistics. But the numbers did not lie. Meanwhile, Captain Sue was having the busiest 3 months of her life. Captain Sue was one of the few humans still in council space. She had stayed behind with her small ship to help other humans who needed to leave later. But now, aliens were calling her every day. Captain Sue, please help us, begged Governor Thelver over the communication system. Our atmospheric processors are failing on Kepler 7. Our people will die without them. Sue looked at her communication panel. She had 47 messages from different alien governments. All of them were asking for human help with systems that were breaking down. Governor, I told you before, most of our technical experts have already left for the Deep Reach project. I cannot help you. What is this Deep Reach project? Governor Thelver asked desperately. Where did all the humans go? That is not your concern, Sue replied. You wanted us to leave. We left. She turned off the communication and looked at her engineer, a human named Baum. How many distress calls today? 63, Baum said tiredly. And it is only noon. The aliens are starting to panic. On the main council station, Engineer Wu was making his final broadcast before leaving council space forever. Wu had worked on the station for 15 years, maintaining all the complex systems that kept it running. This is Engineer Wu speaking to all council species, he said into the microphone. I am leaving this station in 10 minutes. Before I go, I want to explain what my team has been doing here. Aliens across the galaxy stopped what they were doing to listen. Some were curious, others were annoyed that a human was taking up broadcast time. For 15 years, my team has maintained over 2,000 critical systems on this station and hundreds of others like it. We have upgraded your power systems, fixed your life support, and improved your communication networks. We did this work quietly because we were told not to bother council members with minor technical details. Wu paused and looked at a list on his desk. Every day, we prevented an average of 47 system failures across council space. Every week, we upgraded systems to handle increased traffic and energy loads. Every month, we installed new safety protocols to prevent accidents. The aliens listening started to feel uncomfortable. Without this maintenance, your systems will begin to fail, your power grids will become unstable. Your communication networks will slow down and eventually stop working. Your life support systems will break down. Some aliens started checking their local systems. They were seeing small errors and warning lights they had never noticed before. We also maintained the early warning systems that watch for space storms, asteroid impacts, and other dangers. We monitored communication from hostile species beyond council borders. We managed the complex calculations needed for safe hyperspace travel. Wu's voice became serious. You called this work simple maintenance. You said any species could do it. Now you will find out if that is true. He stood up from his desk and picked up his bag. This is Engineer Wu, signing off permanently. Good luck. The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, aliens stared at their communication screens in silence. General Kazma received his report an hour later. It was much worse than he had expected. Sir, his assistant said nervously, humans were involved in every major defense system we have. They made over 50,000 modifications and improvements over the past 20 years. Without these changes, our defenses are only operating at 30% efficiency. 30%? General Casmer stood up quickly. That means we cannot defend against even a small attack. Yes, sir, and there is more bad news? The early warning systems that watch for enemy ships were also maintained by humans. We have been blind to potential threats for 3 months. General, Casmer felt panic rising in his chest. Send a message to Captain Sue immediately. Offer her anything she wants. We need human help. But when they tried to contact Captain Sue, they got a recorded message. This is Captain Sue. I am no longer accepting contracts for technical assistance. All remaining human specialists have departed for the Deep Reach project. Do not contact this ship again. All across the galaxy, the same thing was happening. Power systems were failing on industrial worlds. Communication networks were slowing down. Trade routes that had worked perfectly for decades were now causing massive delays and losses. The Crystalline Confederation reported that their beautiful crystal cities were starting to crack because the humans had been secretly maintaining the underground support systems. The scientific collective discovered that their research computers were running much slower because humans had been optimizing the software for years. Even simple things were going wrong. Food synthesizers were producing bad-tasting meals. Transportation systems were breaking down. Weather control systems were creating storms instead of preventing them, but the worst discovery came from the border worlds. Sir, a frightened alien scout reported to the Council, we have detected 3 hostile fleets moving toward our territory. They are species we have never seen before. Our long-range sensors show they have powerful weapons. Counselor Vexstar, who had laughed at the humans 3 months ago, felt his forearms trembling. How long until they reach our space? 2 weeks, sir, maybe less. Send out our diplomatic ships, make contact, try to negotiate. But when they tried to send the ships, they discovered another problem. All their translation and communication protocols had been developed and maintained by humans. Without human linguists and diplomats, they could not even talk to the approaching aliens. Late that night, Vexstar sat alone in his office, staring at reports of system failures from across the galaxy. His pride was gone. His confidence was shattered. He activated his communication system and sent a message into space, hoping some human ship might receive it. This is Counselor Vexstar of the Altarian Empire. I am sending this message to any human who can hear it. We made a mistake. We need your help. Please respond. But the only answer was silence. The humans were gone, and the galaxy was starting to fall apart. 6 months had passed since the humans left, and the galaxy was falling apart. Prime Minister Vexala stood on the observation deck of her crystal palace, watching her world die. She was a crystalline, which meant her body was made of living crystal that changed colors with her emotions. Right now, she was deep red with fear. The atmospheric processors have completely failed, her assistant reported. The backup systems lasted only 2 weeks. Our air is becoming poisonous. Below them, the beautiful crystal cities of her homeworld were cracking and crumbling. The sky, which had been bright blue for centuries, was turning yellow and thick. Her people were evacuating to underground shelters, but those would not last long either. How did this happen? Vexala asked, though she already knew the answer. The investigation shows that humans had been maintaining our atmospheric systems for over 50 years. They made thousands of tiny adjustments to keep our air clean and safe. We thought the systems were automatic, but they needed constant human attention. Dr. Velas arrived at the palace with more bad news. He was from the Scientific Collective, a group of aliens who studied the galaxy's mysteries. His big brain was pulsing with worry. Prime Minister, we have discovered something terrible, he said. Humans were not just maintaining systems on your world. They were secretly preventing disasters across the entire galaxy. What do you mean? Vexala asked. Dr. Velas showed her a holographic display. It showed hundreds of star systems, all blinking with warning lights. In the past 6 months, we have had 67 natural disasters that should have been prevented. Solar flares that damaged 12 worlds. Asteroid impacts that destroyed 3 colonies. Space storms that wiped out entire trade fleets. He pointed to different systems on the map. Every single one of these disasters could have been prevented if the early warning systems had been working properly. But humans had been maintaining those systems. Without them, we are flying blind. Vexala felt her crystal body turn black with despair. Are you saying humans were protecting the entire galaxy? That is exactly what I am saying. And there is more. Dr. Veloz changed the display to show communication logs. We have found records of human diplomats secretly negotiating with 47 different hostile species. They were preventing wars and conflicts that could have destroyed us. All, as if to prove his point, alarms started blaring throughout the palace. An aide rushed in with terrible news. Prime Minister, 3 wars have started in the Outer Rim. The Slek Empire is attacking the Wort Federation. The Crimson Horde has invaded the peaceful zones. The Machine Collective has activated their war protocols. All at the same time? Vexala gasped. Yes. Ma'am, it seems like they were all waiting for something. Like they knew we were vulnerable. Double quotes, Dr. Veloz nodded grimly. Human diplomats were managing all these conflicts. They were keeping the peace through careful negotiations and agreements. Without them, all our enemies are attacking at once. Suddenly, the communication system activated. A human voice filled the room. This is Commander Jin of the Human Rescue Fleet. We are detecting civilian distress signals from your world. We are coming to help. Hope flashed through Vexala's crystal body, turning her bright yellow. Thank the stars. The humans are coming back. But Commander Jin's next words crushed that hope. Let me be clear, this is a humanitarian rescue mission only. We will save civilian lives, but we will not repair your systems or resume our old duties. You wanted us gone, so we are gone. We are just preventing innocent people from dying because of your mistakes. An hour later, human rescue ships appeared over the crystal world. They were sleek and fast, much more advanced than the ships humans had used 6 months ago. They quickly began evacuating civilians from the failing cities. Commander Jin landed at the palace to coordinate the rescue. She was a tall woman with short black hair and serious eyes. She wore a uniform that looked more advanced than anything the aliens had seen before. Commander Jin, Vexala begged, please help us repair our systems. We can pay you anything you want. Jin looked at her with cold eyes. 6 months ago, you called humans primitive servants. You said we were too young to understand real technology. Now you want our help? We were wrong, Vexala admitted. We did not understand what you were doing for us. No, you did not, Jin checked her tablet. We have evacuated 30,000 civilians so far. We will continue until everyone is safe, but that is all. But our world is dying. Then you should have thought about that before you dismissed us. Jin looked around the cracking crystal palace. You had 50 years to treat us as equals. You chose to see us as servants instead. These are the consequences of that choice. Dr. Veloz stepped forward. Commander, we have learned something important. We know humans were protecting us from many threats. Can you at least tell us what else is coming? Jin was quiet for a moment. Then she activated a holographic display that showed space beyond. The galaxy, you want to know what is coming? Look, the display showed something that made all the aliens gasp in terror. It was huge and dark, moving through space like a living shadow. It was consuming entire star systems as it moved toward their galaxy. What is that thing? Vexala whispered. We call them the Void Heralds, Jin said. They are from another galaxy, and they eat everything in their path. They will arrive in our galaxy in 18 months. How long have you known about this? 2 years. That is why we really left the council. Not because we were angry with you, but because we needed to prepare for this threat. While you were laughing at us and dividing our territories, we were building defenses and weapons to fight something you cannot even imagine. Dr. Veloz stared at the display. Why did you not tell us? We tried. Every human diplomat, scientist, and military officer tried to warn the Council about various threats. You ignored every warning. You said humans were too paranoid and saw dangers that did not exist. Jin turned off the display. We spent decades trying to get you to listen to us, to treat us as partners instead of servants. You refused. So we left to handle this threat ourselves. Can you defeat this thing? Alone? Vexala asked desperately. We do not know, but we will try. Jin picked up her tablet. The evacuation is complete. We are leaving now. Wait, Vexala called out. Is there any way we can help? Any way we can make up for our mistakes? Jin stopped at the door. There is one way. If the Council species can learn to work together without human help, if you can prove you have changed your attitudes about cooperation and equality, then maybe we can discuss an alliance against the Void Heralds. How do we prove that? By solving your current problems without begging humans to fix everything for you. Show us you can be partners, not just people who need to be saved. Jin left the palace. Her rescue ships departed, leaving the aliens alone with their failing world and the terrible knowledge of what was coming. Vexala looked at Dr. Velas. We need to call an emergency council meeting. All species must hear about this threat. Do you think they will listen? They will have to. Because if we cannot learn to work together, we are all going to die. 9 months after the humans left, Supreme Counselor Kethmar stood in the ruins of what had once been the greatest meeting hall in the galaxy. Half the ceiling had collapsed when the structural support systems failed. Emergency lights flickered, casting strange shadows on the walls. Kethmar was a unified, which meant his body was made up of thousands of small creatures working together. Right now, many of those creatures were panicking, making his form shift and bubble with stress. How many council members are left? He asked his aide. 37 out of the original 200, sir. The others are either dead, missing, or dealing with disasters on their homeworlds. The Galaxy Council was falling apart. Wars were raging across dozens of systems. Entire worlds had been abandoned when their life support systems failed. Trade had almost completely stopped, leaving many planets without food or medicine. Sir, another aide rushed in. Admiral Zonter is here with his fleet. He says he has a plan to force the humans to return. Admiral Zonter marched into the ruined hall. He was a hegemony warrior, built like a tank with armor plating and weapon systems built into his body. His species believed that all problems could be solved with force. Supreme Counselor, Zonter said, I have assembled the largest military fleet in galactic history. 5,000 warships from 20 different species. We will find the humans and make them fix our problems. And if they refuse? Kethmar asked. Then we will capture their ships and force them to work. They are just humans. How strong can they be? Kethmar was not sure this was a good idea, but he was desperate. Very well, find the humans and bring them back. Admiral Zonter left with his massive fleet, confident that he would return with human prisoners in a few days. He was very wrong. 3 days later, the fleet found a single human ship at the edge of council space. It was small and looked harmless compared to the massive alien warship surrounding it. Human vessel, Admiral Zoner broadcast. You are surrounded. Surrender immediately and prepare to be boarded. The human ship responded with a calm voice. This is Captain Gill of the Human Diplomatic Corps. You are making a mistake, Admiral. The only mistake was letting you leave in the first place, Zonter replied. You will return to council space and fix the problems you created. We did not create these problems, we prevented them. There is a difference. Enough talk. Zonter ordered his fleet to attack. What happened next shocked everyone in the fleet. The small human ship moved like nothing they had ever seen. It was faster than their fastest interceptors, more agile than their best fighters. When the alien ships fired their weapons, the human ship simply was not there anymore. But the human ship did not just dodge. It fired back with weapons that the aliens had never seen before. Beams of energy that went through their shields like they were made of paper. The alien ships were not destroyed, but they were completely disabled. In 10 minutes, Captain Gills Single ship had disabled the entire fleet of 5,000 warships. How is this possible? Admiral Zonter gasped as his flagship drifted helplessly in space. Captain Gill's voice came over the communication system. Admiral, did you really think we spent 50 years in Council space without learning anything? Did you believe we were too stupid to improve our technology? But humans are primitive. We let you think that. We deliberately kept our technology simple while we were part of the Council. We did not want to upset the balance of power or make other species feel threatened. Admiral Zonter's mind was reeling. If you had this technology, why did you not use it before? Because we hoped we could be partners with you. We thought if we worked together peacefully, we could all benefit. But you never saw us as partners. You saw us as servants. Gill's ship moved closer to the disabled flagship. Now that we are no longer part of the Council, we have no reason to hold back our technological development. In 9 months, we have advanced. More than we did in the previous 50 years. What do you want from us? Zonter asked desperately. Nothing. We want nothing from you. We are busy preparing for a real threat while you play these foolish games. The Void Heralds, Zonter whispered. He had heard the reports from the Council. Yes, while you have been fighting each other and letting your worlds fall apart, we have been building weapons and defenses to fight an enemy that could destroy the entire galaxy, an enemy that will arrive in less than 9 months. Captain Gill transmitted a data package to the alien fleet. I am sending you information about the Void Heralds. Study it carefully. Show it to your leaders. Maybe it will help you understand what is really important. The human ship began to move away. Wait, Admiral Zoner called out. Can you not help us? We will do anything. Will you? Gill's voice was cold. Will you treat other species as equals? Will you listen to advice from those you consider inferior? Will you work together instead of trying to dominate each other? Yes, we will do anything. Then prove it. Go back to the Council and show them that you can work together to solve your problems. Stop the wars, fix your systems, learn to cooperate. But we do not know how. Then figure it out. You are supposed to be advanced civilizations, act like it. Gill's ship disappeared into hyperspace, leaving the disabled fleet floating in space. It took 6 hours for rescue ships to arrive and tow the fleet back to Council space. Admiral Zonter returned to the Council Hall in shame, but with important information. Supreme Counselor, he reported. The humans are far more advanced than we ever imagined. But they are not our enemies. They are preparing to defend the galaxy from something much worse than our current problems. He showed the Council the data about the Void Heralds. The images of the cosmic destroyer moving toward their galaxy made even the bravest warriors tremble with fear. How long do we have? Kethmore asked. 9 months, maybe less. Can we defeat this thing? Not alone. Maybe not even with human help, but without them, we have no chance at all. Keth_Moore looked around the ruined council hall at the few remaining representatives of their once great civilization. Then we have, 9 months to prove we are worthy of their alliance. 9 months to show we can be partners instead of children who need to be saved. How do we do that? By fixing our problems ourselves. By working together. By becoming the kind of civilization that deserves to survive. It seemed impossible. But with the end of the galaxy approaching, they had to try. 18 months had passed since the humans left. The galaxy looked very different now. Council Speaker Yathara walked through the rebuilt council station, amazed by how much had changed. She was amorphic, able to change her shape and write. Now she had formed herself into a shape that could move quickly through the busy corridors. The station was no longer the quiet, elegant place it had been when humans were doing all the work. Now it buzzed with activity as aliens from dozens of species worked together on complex projects. Xanthari engineers worked alongside crystalline technicians. Trader economists shared data with scientific collective researchers. It had not been easy. In the first few months after Admiral Zonera's defeat, everything had gotten worse. More wars started, more systems failed, billions of people died. But slowly, painfully, the surviving species had learned to work together. Speaker Yathara called Engineer Mexstar, a crystalline who had learned to maintain atmospheric systems. The defense grid is ready for testing, Yathara nodded. Good, are all species contributing to the project? Yes, ma'am. Even the former. Enemies are working together now. The Slek Empire and the Wort Federation have combined their fleets. The Crimson Horde is sharing their weapon technology. It was amazing how quickly old enemies became allies when they faced extinction. The communication system activated with an incoming message. Council Station, this is Ambassador San of the Human Federation. We are requesting permission to dock. Yathara felt her heart race. It was the first official human contact in over a year. Permission granted, Ambassador. Welcome back. An hour later, Ambassador San walked into the council chamber. She was a middle-aged woman with gray hair and kind eyes, but her expression was serious. Behind her walked several other humans, including some in military uniforms. The council chamber was full. Representatives from 43 species had come to hear what the humans had to say. Ambassador San, Yathara said formally, the Galaxy Council recognizes you. Thank you, Speaker. San looked around the chamber. I see many changes since we last met here. We have learned much in your absence, Yathara admitted. We have learned to work together. We have learned to solve problems without depending on others to fix everything for us. So I have observed. Our long-range sensors show that you have stopped most of the wars. You have repaired many of the failing systems. You have begun to cooperate in ways you never did before. General Casmer, now older and wiser, stood up. Ambassador, we know the Void Heralds are coming. We have been preparing defenses, but we do not know if they will be enough. They will not be, said a new voice. Everyone turned as Fleet Admiral Hyon entered the chamber. She was a tall woman in an impressive military uniform, and the confidence in her voice made everyone listen carefully. The Void Heralds are more dangerous than you can imagine, Admiral Hyon continued. They have consumed 12 galaxies before ours. They are not just destroyers, they are hunger itself, taking the energy of entire star systems to grow stronger. She activated a holographic display that showed the edge of their galaxy. Dark shapes were moving between the stars, getting closer. Every day, they will arrive in 72 hours. Fear filled the chamber. Some aliens started to panic, but Speaker Yathara called for order. Admiral, she said, will humanity help us fight this threat? That depends, Admiral Hyon replied. Are you asking us to save you, or are you asking us to fight alongside you? What is the difference? Asked Dr. Velas. Ambassador San answered. The difference is equality. For 50 years you came to us with problems and expected us to solve them. You never offered to help us with our problems. You never asked what we needed. You just took our help and gave nothing back. But we are offering to help now, Yathara said. Our fleets are ready to fight. Our scientists have developed new weapons. Our engineers have built defensive systems. Yes, you are, San smiled for the first time. And that is why we are here. Admiral Hyon changed the display to show human. Ships gathered at the galaxy's edge. There were thousands of them, designs that the aliens had never seen before. The Human Federation has spent 18 months preparing for this fight. We have weapons that can hurt the Void Heralds. We have shields that can protect our worlds. We have strategies that might work. Might work? General Casmer asked nervously. Nothing is certain when fighting an enemy like this. But we have a chance if we work together. What do you need from us? Yathara asked. Admiral Hyon smiled. Everything. We need your ships to coordinate with ours. We need your scientists to help adapt our weapons to your technology. We need your engineers to maintain defensive systems during battle. We need your leaders to make quick decisions when the plan changes. You want us to be partners, Yathara said, understanding, real partners. Not people we give orders to and not people who give us orders. Partners who contribute their strengths. To a shared goal, the vote was unanimous. All 43 species agreed to the alliance. The next 72 hours were the busiest in galactic history. Human and alien engineers worked together to upgrade weapons and shields. Human and alien scientists shared data about the Void Heralds. Human and alien military leaders planned complex battle strategies. When the Void Heralds arrived, they found a galaxy ready to fight. The battle lasted for weeks. The enemy was terrible and powerful, consuming entire solar systems as they advanced. But for the first time in galactic history, every species was working together with a single purpose. Xanthari warriors flew alongside human pilots. Crystalline technicians repaired trader supply ships. Scientific collective researchers worked with human strategists to find the enemy's weaknesses. The turning point came when Dr. Velas and a human scientist named Dr. May discovered that the Void Heralds were vulnerable to a specific type of energy wave. But the weapon needed to generate this wave required the combined technology of all the galaxy's species. It will take the computing power of the scientific collective, the energy systems of the crystallines, the manufacturing capability of the traders, the military coordination of the Xanthari, and the advanced weaponry of the humans, Dr. May explained during a strategy meeting. Can it be done? Admiral Hyan asked. Only if everyone contributes their best technology and expertise. No one species can do this alone. And they did it. For the first time in galactic history, every species shared their most advanced secrets and worked together as true equals. The final battle was fought at the galaxy's core. The combined fleet of all species, led jointly by Admiral Hyan and General Kazmar, faced the main force of the Void Heralds. When the superweapon fired, powered by the cooperation of dozens of different civilizations, it tore through the Void Heralds like light through darkness. The ancient destroyers who had consumed 12 galaxies were finally defeated. After the victory, the Galaxy Council was reformed. But this time, it was different. We will never again take any species for granted, Speaker Yathara announced. At the first meeting of the new council, we will never again assume that some people are more important than others. We have all learned that every species has something valuable to contribute. Ambassador San, now representing humanity as an equal member of the Reformed Council, nodded. We never wanted to be your caretakers. We always wanted to be your partners. It just took losing us for you to understand the difference. The galaxy was safe, but more importantly, it was united. The lesson had been learned at a terrible cost, but it had been learned well. Never again would they take their partners for granted.